I used to sell software for a cybersecurity company called NetWitness RSA Security. And in 2022, while I had that job, and it was a pretty good job, it paid it paid a lot and it was remote. It was a great job, but I always knew that I didn't want to be dependent on someone else determining what I'm worth and also just dependent on someone else's business to provide for me. So, towards the end of 2022, I got together with an old college buddy, and each of us put $25,000 together, so $50,000 total, and we used that to buy uh, two turnkey single family homes in Cleveland, Ohio. I got the idea from an online guru. You've all heard of him. He drives around in his Phantom Rolls Royces, and I was two properties in, and then in March 2023, after I closed a huge deal, um, my company let me go. So I already had two rentals in Cleveland, Ohio, and my goal was to not be dependent upon a boss or a company anyway. So what I did was I went shopping for my third property. I didn't know how it was going to end, but at this time, I actually came across a hard money lender. Now, a hard money lender is just, it's basically banking outside of the traditional banking industry. A hard money lender can practically make their own rules. And so I was shopping, and this guy offered 100% financing on a house. And I'm like, this is totally too good to be true. I literally didn't believe it. I said to the guy, because I don't believe you, I'm going to fly to Cleveland and meet everyone in your office and see that you're legit and you're a real person. So at the time, I also checked up on my two houses, and I met my property managers over there to get a feeling of legitimacy. And then I closed on my first home, no money out of pocket, with my hard money lender, and that was my third rental in Cleveland, Ohio. Except there was one problem, and that problem was I needed to figure out how to get out of a 1 year, $50,000 loan. I had never done a refinance before, and I was I no longer had an income because I lost my job, so I had pressure, and obviously 3 rental properties split with a business partner is not enough to live off of. So I developed this idea that I wanted to sprint to 50 units as fast as I could, which I did succeed at over the following year. Once I made that decision that I wanted to grow, there was two paths I was thinking of taking. One path was, do I raise money from investors and say, hey, look, I have 3 cash flowing single family homes, give me money, we could split the ownership and the cash flow? Or do I do renovation projects, borrow all the money for the renovation projects, and then build wealth by fixing up and improving the values of these homes? And the second idea didn't really come to me until later. I would ask this lender maybe once a week or every 2 weeks. Once I had the goal to get to 50 properties as soon as I could, I asked this lender every couple weeks, hey, do you have any deals that you're willing to finance? Do you have any deals that you're willing to finance? And he says to me, the real way to do this business model is to buy beat up homes, get someone to renovate the home, increase the value of the home, and then refinance at the higher amount. This was not my idea. This was the idea of a hard money lender that was like, yeah, this is it. And I started thinking in my head, wait, I have heard of this. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance. Burr method. I've heard of that. I've heard of that from Bigger Pockets. It was not something that I was like, oh, I'm going to go do this. It was something that it kind of came to me after realizing that this was just a clear path to accumulate a bunch of properties without needing partners and without needing a bunch of money out of pocket. So I started acquiring uh, I started acquiring renovation projects by the portfolio, and I just started rolling the dice. I certainly got lucky a few times. I certainly got unlucky a few times, but I stuck with it. I flew out to Cleveland every few months to meet my team. I was able to sprint to acquiring 50 properties, 50 units in a year. Uh, just because I acquired them did not mean they were stabilized. I acquired 50 units and then spent the following year renovating and refinancing those units. while also acquiring more. And over the past 2.5 years, I've acquired over 100 doors. So out of those 104 acquisitions in the past 2.5 years, I've been able to figure out a system to renovate these homes, refinance, and keep and or sell them. And that's really the full story of how I went from working a full-time job to buying over 100 units in about 2.5 years. The unique thing about what I do and what I teach is when I get into a renovation project, I borrow all the money up front for that deal. So, for example, this is my most recent purchase. This is 7013 Hecker Avenue. I bought it for $41,000 and I got a $101,000 loan. So, what does that mean? That covers the purchase price, all the closing costs, and all the renovation costs. And I got that funded up front. So, when I acquired that property, I got over $50,000 advanced to me at closing, which is now going to be distributed in increments to my contractor that's going to fix up that property. When I finish fixing up that property, it'll be worth somewhere between $130,000 to $150,000. Because it's a duplex in Cleveland, Ohio, it's going to cash flow very well. I'm going to be able to find a buyer that will probably pay $150,000, and my profit margin is anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. And this is a typical deal that I do and a typical deal that I look for, both to buy and fix up and to sell to those of you that are watching online. I also teach people how to do this in my community, the Burr with Harry Gold community. It's just $20 to join. It's really a no brainer, even if you're just curious about what we're talking about here.